Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. We're going to take a quick look at Avalanche, and before we do, we always look at Bitcoin because any good trader needs to understand what Bitcoin is doing to properly navigate this market, right? So we'll just go ahead and take a quick look here. And if you've been living under a rock, I'll just go ahead and summarize for you. Bitcoin's been on a bit of a decline recently, right? We went all the way up to 66,000, got rejected, and now we're down to roughly 59,000. So that is just under 10%, pretty much actually right at 10% decrease in roughly 3 trading days. So it's not terrible, right? It's a normal correction. Bitcoin needs to do this once in a while. And there's two possible scenarios here. The price could continue to retrace and come down to 52,700 as a rough estimate. That was the one-day candlestick close just before the actual, what was it, El Salvador candle back here, right? So there's that possibility. The other possibility is that we consolidate between 58 and 60,000 for some time and we start legging back up. Both are potential. At this point, it's a little too early to tell. We're below the 50-day simple moving average on the 4-hour chart, by the way. And of course, there's potential for a golden cross. No, sorry. That would be nice, right? I meant death cross. I hate that word. But yeah, there's potential for the death cross to occur, right? Where the 50 intersects with the 200 in a downward fashion, effectively pushing the price action further. So we got that, but this is slightly conflicting, right? Where we do have the 1-day, 50-day simple moving average coming in to save the day, so to speak. We'll see here soon if that holds, obviously. That will take place in the next 24 to 48 hours. But my guess is we'll see the price consolidate closer to 60,000 and probably work its way down to 58. Maybe test that as the support and start to come back up. I think the likelihood of going down to 52,700 is very low, but it could possibly happen. Because if you look at the GAN fan here, you can kind of see that we are kind of within this range, right? So if we kind of spread it out here, you can see that we're stuck right in this little channel, okay? And then, of course, we are not able to stay. Sorry, my straight lines are terrible. If we can't stay above this line here, we're going to be in terrible shape, right? In other words, we're going to be in this open range for the price to go anywhere within here until it can break back out above, right? So again, not to say this is 100% certainty, but that GAN fan does very, very good about helping us understand support and resistance levels outside of just traditional ones that you draw with straight lines. So anyways, just something to consider. But that being said, we're not in terrible shape, but just not good shape, if that makes sense. It could be worse, I like to say. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to Avalanche, kind of see what's going on here. Let's go ahead and start with a 1-day chart and work our way down. As per usual, you need to look at the big picture first. Okay, so this is kind of a little bit on the stretchy side here. Let's go ahead and do this. Now, obviously, it's been a couple days since I covered this, but we had this descending wedge pattern here that broke out to the upside, as well as the simple fact that we have a pretty strong support level at about $97. Once it broke its all-time high, hasn't really looked back ever since. We've seen about 2 days worth of bullish momentum. So all is well there in that sense. It's doing pretty good considering the fact that Bitcoin sold off recently, and Bitcoin's been pretty much going down where Avalanche is going up. It basically tells us that some of the market capitalization coming away from Bitcoin is going into coins like Avalanche. So it's not terrible, not bad at all. We're above 70 on the RSI as well, which is excellent news. We like to see that. Very, very healthy in that sense. That could be at the new support level right around 102. What's interesting is you can find support levels on the chart that are synonymous with the RSI, at least for temporary time frames, right? So if we see right here, we've got 70 on the RSI, I've just peaked back above. It's basically right there where it broke above the support level, previous resistance of 102. So we can effectively consider 102 as a strong support level now. However, we want to have and ensure the 1-day candlestick closes above that first. If we don't get 102 on the 1-day candlestick from today, then it will be considered a resistance level still, and we'll still be on the downside, or at least the underneath. That would basically that would put the RSI under 70 again, if that makes any sense. So anyways, that's just kind of something to think about. Moving on here to the 4-hour chart, looking pretty good. We can see the price bounce off the 50-day simple moving average, 200 is trailing behind. We are below 70 and above 50 on the RSI. That's exactly where you want to be, because anything over 70 on the RSI on the 4-hour chart can effectively be considered overbought. 1-day chart's a different story, but on this 4-hour chart, it's more accurate, if you will, right? So it'll be more likely to come back down when you have an overextension on the 4-hour chart RSI. We had a MACD convergence here as well at about 2100. That was yesterday. So let's go ahead and mark that guy really quick, 2100, just so we can kind of get perspective on the 1-hour chart for the Ichimoku cloud. Let's go ahead and look at that guy right now, see what's going on. So here's what happened. This is cool. Okay. So we had a MACD convergence on the 4-hour chart right in this time frame here. Concurrent with that, we have the price holding support on the cloud. So the cloud's working as a support level here. That's what the lead 1 and lead 2 will do. And obviously if it's below, it's considered resistance, but that's effectively a support level. So that reaffirmed the support at 2 places. It reaffirmed the support that we have at 92, 93, and of course 97 as well. So this is a strong support channel. And what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and draw that really quick here. Sorry, the chart gets a little funky when you have such significant increases in the recent past. So we'll just go ahead and mark that, just so we have that for future reference. But that's a strong support channel there now, right? So we shouldn't expect to see the price come down below there. Again, 52,000 from Bitcoin tomorrow, you bet your butt this is going to be down there. It's going to be lower than that. But pending Bitcoin doesn't have some catastrophic failure, then we should be just fine to see Avalanche continue to stay above its all-time high here. Once more, we need to ensure that the one-day candlestick closes above this level here. Right here need to close above, right? So if we get the one-day candlestick to close here in approximately, what, 8 or 9 hours above 102, we're going to be in really good shape to continue the upside, right? Because that's anytime you break an all-time high, the previous resistance becomes a strong support, but it has to be broken on the one-day chart. It can't just be broken on a 1 hour or 4 hour chart, because that doesn't give you enough time to kind of give you that confirmation. And see, confirmation gives you the understanding that you're moving in the right direction, right? We don't have that direction just yet. Yes, we broke above roughly 2 to 3 hours ago, but this case in point, we're in a position where we need to wait just a little bit longer to get that certainty. So if you want to add to your position, dollar cost average at 102, there's nothing wrong with that, but I would wait a little bit longer in my personal opinion. So that's all well and good. So the last thing we want to look at here is this overextension, if there is one. TD sequential tells us we're at a 7. So on a scale of 1 to 9, we're at a 7 essentially. So we only have about 2 hours, I would say maybe 2 to 4 hours, 2 to 6 hours left of bullish momentum. So the price could continue to increase, which would be fine, as long as it doesn't go up too fast, right? Because if we have this standard deviation, it goes outside of that, which you can see here, it's pushing the limits, right? So the volume weighted average price is like, hey, the price is way higher than the volume. What's going on? That gives us that certainty of knowing that, hey, if the price is within the volume range, then it's a comfortable increase. If it's outside of that range, which it is still right now, in my opinion, overextended, then it could consolidate and come back down. That's kind of the inverse of what we saw with Bitcoin recently, right? Its volume didn't match its price, and it had to come back down because it didn't have that volume to back it up. Okay, so if you see the price way above the volume, then there's that moment in which it's like, okay, it's probably going to come crashing back down, which Bitcoin did 2 days ago. Thankfully, we were able to identify that and save some money and exit our positions before it dumped a good 10% of the last 2 trading days. But Avalanche is showing signs of that, if that makes any sense. So what we want to see is the price continue to go sideways. Yes, this is good. I'm glad to see it consolidating a little bit. And if we can get that to go sideways, then we're going to be in pretty darn good shape here to see the price kind of level out. Okay, but again, you can see that standard deviation. The price is way too high right here. It needs to come down. So I'd love to see the price consolidate about 102 and then ramp back up after the one-day candlestick closes to stretch new heights. Okay. So me personally, I would say here that Avalanche is in very good shape. The only concern is that it's a bit on the overextended side right now. So if we can get a period of consolidation for the next 8 to 10 hours, that'd be advantageous. Hopefully the one-day candlestick can close above 102, and then we'll be off to the races from there. If we can get that one-day candlestick to close above 102 and Bitcoin doesn't tank tomorrow, then Avalanche will effectively continue to increase. Okay. Now, how much higher? Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that and call it a day. Based on its recent momentous trend, right? So its most recent low, November 10th, big surprise, that was the first Bitcoin sell-off. And by the way, too, the recent Bitcoin sell-off didn't impact Avalanche hardly at all, which is a very good sign. When we go back to the 10th, that's 7 trading days. So roughly, 1 week ago today, we had a big dip from Bitcoin. So hypothetically, that implies that now that we broke its all-time high, we could see 115 in the next 4 to 7 days. So I'd say 115 is a likelihood over the next week. That's about a 15% increase from here. And what we'll do on the next evaluation is we'll go ahead and redraw some Fibonacci retracement lines based on the most recent low, and then kind of get better highs expectations from there. But I don't think we're going to see Avalanche shoot past 115 in the next 24 hours. That's just my personal opinion. It's overextended right now, it needs to consolidate, and we need to find a better, I would say just, we need to get that one-day candlestick to close first. That's the biggest thing for me personally. One-day candle over 102, and we're all good to go, right? That's my personal opinion. Okay, so that is kind of where we're at. Hopefully you found benefit here and I didn't provide more questions than answers. Feel free to comment below. Let me know if you have any thoughts. Message me directly through any social media platform I have available down in the description below. But more importantly, consider joining my Patreon community before the month is over. The rates are effectively increasing based on demand. This is my full-time job. This is something I love to do. I'd love to get to know you better and help you become a better trader. Check that out. Thanks so much again for your time. I look forward to seeing you next one. Take care.